$700 for this is ridiculous. Okay, we got to see what Moist Critical
The
is.
PS5.
$700 for this is ridiculous. Moist Critical. Let's see what's going on.
The PS5 Pro has just been revealed.
Oh.
And it's not going swimmingly. For a lot of people, it's very underwhelming. I've seen many people are super disappointed, feeling the same way I felt when I found out I wasn't going to be growing taller than 5'6", just inconsolable and outraged. And that's mainly because the PS5 Pro's pricing. It's 700 clams for the new console that doesn't have a disk drive, also doesn't include the stand, and for the upgrades that they showcased, does not feel warranted for 700 doubloons.
We want to give players the graphics that the game creators aspire to, at the high frame rates that players typically prefer. To do that, PS5 Pro substantially improves over PlayStation 5 in 3 ways. Here's what we call the Big 3.
These are improvements, no doubt, and they even give some of the numbers about like how much faster or more powerful the PS5 Pro is compared to the normal PS5. But when you actually see side-by-side comparisons, it feels less like a big 3 and more like a moderate trio. But there is one category that I think there is a substantial difference, and it's this one right here.
Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro.
Oh my god, dude.
It has huge amounts of detail and targets a super smooth 60 frames per second. Let's compare this to the Fidelity mode on PS5, which is only running at 30 frames per second and is therefore much choppier.
It is, definitely.
Clearly
there's a lot more detail there you could see for sure.
A big difference there under these settings. However, I don't think that makes it worth the $700 price tag. If you try and argue that it does, I would just slap the crack pipe out of your hand.
I agree with that 100%. And I am a console player. I prefer console over PC. The casualness, the chillness around it. I've never really had too much problems with the graphics or the game running choppily or anything like that. Like, I do think it's it's made for a different thing, right? You know what I'm saying? But the price on this is fucking wild. That's insane.
Another way to compare the two consoles.
To be fair, though, you get a $700 laptop, it's not going to run shit. You know what I mean? $700 laptop wouldn't run dick for games. If you have a big computer that you spent $2K on at least, then yeah, you're gonna run very, very smoothly, very, very smoothly. It probably over 1K, honestly. Let's be honest. You can find some cheaper computers that probably run well.
Just to look at PS5 Pro versus.
But the casualness, the point of a console is not to be a computer, but to be a casual piece in the house, right?
Performance mode on PS5, both of which target 60 frames per second.
Sure, depends on where you get it, but still.
What we see.
The average is what I'm talking about, Silver. Not, if you have a spot here and there. The average for a $700 laptop is not going to run shit. It's coming from a guy that bought a fuck ton of these and burned through them quickly until I got smart and upgraded to a really nice computer.
Here is a difference in detail. PS5 Pro is much sharper and crisper than PS5.
Where?
Okay.
Are we looking at the same thing? They just copy and pasted the image and thought we wouldn't notice. This is...
No, I agree 100%. It's $700 is outrageous. Like, this looks a slight bit better, but this isn't $700 fucking worth. That's for goddamn sure.
It's not a $700 difference here. I'm not exaggerating when I say I stared at this image for close to about 10 minutes and I could not pick up on a single difference between the two here. The only thing that I could maybe speculate is that in the distance there, like on the tower, the text looks a little darker. Who gives a fuck?
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of cope about this too, like, oh, you can't judge it because it's compressed YouTube footage. Obviously, in the actual PS5 Pro, which of course I have 10 of already, the difference is night and day. I can't even go back to the original PS5. It feels like I'm playing a Nintendo 64 compared to the PS5 Pro.
That's so dumb.
Like, yeah, it's probably sharper and more crisp.
That's just people being fanboys. Like, let's be honest. That's just being hardcore fanboys. When you can't admit there's a problem with your own product, you're just being a fucking fanboy. You know what I mean? And I'm a PlayStation sucker, but Not that hard.
Side of a YouTube video, but even still, this is a very weak showcase of the PS5's power and justification for the $700 price tag.
For this, my favorite is the parade scene from Ratchet and Clank. Distant details are much clearer.
Okay, that's slightly
is
fair.
There an individual pixel?
The leaves in the back are more populated and maybe a little bit more natural on one side than the other. But it's not enough, again, for $700.
Buried back there somewhere that's a bit more saturated than the others on the PS5.
Yep.
Am I trying to look for someone in the stands here? Like on the PS5 Pro, can I zoom into one of those audience members standing up and see like a bulge there with so much detail that their dick print starts to show through? Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be focusing on here because they are identical. The only tiny change I can see is on the PS5 Pro, you can see a bit more of that fucking floating tomato or whatever that is, like the basketball surrounded by leaves in the top right. But I think the only reason you can see that a little bit better,
I mean, obviously the bush on the far back left here is, you can see there's some differential there, but I don't think it's enough again to,
is because the angle is a bit more to the right on the PS5 Pro than it is on the left.
Oh, no. and right here, this is clearer. The line right here and the flag comparatively to this side, it's a little bit more. But again, $700. Get the fuck out of here.
I guess the leaves pop a little bit more. So for $700, you get to see some more leaves in the background. Yeehaw! Imagine trying to convince yourself that it was worth it for something like that. Like your buddy comes over and he's like, "This is kind of a waste of money." You're like, "Oh, why I never." I can't help but laugh at the absurdity of that claim. This is $700 well spent, my friend. Please take a seat and I'll show you, you simpleton. You pause the game and like zoom in on the background in like camera mode. Do you see that right there? Tomato. Bet you didn't notice it. In fact, you couldn't notice it on your poverty machine. No, the PS5 Pro. It's got
your poverty machine.
all of the bells and whistles.
And here we can see
Oh my God, your poverty machine. That is fantastic.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is noticeably higher resolution throughout the scene, including the trees and procedural cars.
Is it? I can't tell. I don't think Superman with X-ray vision could spot any difference here. Honestly, maybe it's me on crazy pills. I thought the PS5 one on the left was the PS5 Pro for a moment because I actually thought that one looked a lot more crisp initially.
I thought the same
thing. But now
thing.
that they're side by side,
I honestly thought the same thing, chat. Like, I was looking at the left and thinking that, like, damn, that one looks really good compared to the other one. And then I'm looking at the other one. I'm like, oh shit, that's the Pro. What the fuck?
Just look the same. Like, I'm looking at the leaves on the tree. I don't see any difference between them. The cars look exactly the same. The trash can on the sidewalk, there is no difference in.
Nope.
Like, where is this noticeable difference that he is referring to? Behold the power of the PS5 Pro. On the left, you can see Charles rendered on a standard PS5 model. Disgusting. Makes you want to close your eyes.
Horrible.
But on the right, you can see him rendered using the new and improved PS5 Pro. Extraordinary detail with a picture so sharp it might slit your throat. Charles has never looked better. This is the power of the PS5 Pro.
Vertical stands sold separately. Yeah, of course.
Play has no limits, and neither does money. Everyone's got infinite money, and it's time to play. So fork over $700 or $800 if you want that stand and that pesky disk drive, and then buckle your seatbelt to enjoy some PS4 games. Only possible with the PlayStation 5. I will never get tired of seeing them showing PS4 games during PS5 presentations. Like, yes, I know Last of Us 2 has been remastered for the PS5, but come on. It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Surely there has to be some PlayStation 5 titles that they can be showcasing at these events.
God of War? Why is God of War not getting showcased? That's...
I still think Demon's Souls Remake is the best looking game on the PlayStation 5.
Really? Demon's Souls? I played the OG for PS3 and was like, what the fuck am I playing? And I never went back to it. But would be interesting to to see.
I never see shit from it. I don't know why Sony has like this hate boner for From Software. Like, I just saw that headline, a week ago, where they're like, we don't have any IP, boo hoo, give me some fucking French cries. All our IPs, we don't have enough. Meanwhile, they're still sitting on Bloodborne. They haven't even bought.
They're sitting on fucking Bloodborne, Uncharted. Dude, there's so many. Spyro, they haven't done shit with. There's so many exclusives they haven't done shit with. They're just sitting on there fucking doing nothing.
Bothered to port Bloodborne to the PC.
Yeah.
They still don't even have like a 60 FPS version of Bloodborne. That is still just stranded, left out to die, and it is one of the biggest fucking IPs that they just squat on doing nothing with. And then you see
Sly Cooper, and yeah, I know Bloodborne being, like, people go back and play Bloodborne. Like, you go to the stream, normally there's a lot of people streaming it still, which is insane for how old and, you know, being on, is it PS4?
these showcase events and they're still showing PS4 games at it. Like, wake up. Come back to reality. $700 for this doesn't make any sense. I completely agree with people shitting on this for that price point. It is an upgrade. Like, this is, no matter how you spin it, an upgrade to the existing PS5s, but it's not a $700 one. That is an entirely new console. And this is, it's barely even like a 1.5 of the current PS5. Like, it's just not worth that amount of money. If this came out with a more reasonable price point, I don't think people would be as upset about it.
No.
I still think it's super silly to not just include the vertical stand for it. Like, you couldn't have just slid in that tiny piece of plastic. They probably have that lying around in the
Guaranteed they have that shit lying around. We have 110%. Like, if you worked at a factory, you know for a fact that they have sand just fucking laying around scattered.
millions somewhere tucked in their warehouse. They can't just throw that into the box. Like, that's absurd. And you couldn't at least put like the disk drive in it to make a little bit more value behind this. It's just absolute lunacy, really. It is a delusional price point to be charging for what they're offering with the PS5 Pro. I do fully agree that this will probably look better outside of the YouTube videos, like the contrast and all of that they were trying to showcase here, and the sharpness and everything. I do think, yes, it will look better outside of this, but even if it looks exceptional, it's still just not worth the $700. We're not getting any new games with it or anything. We're also not even getting a stand or disk drive with it. You're getting like a graphical upgrade and a bit of a performance boost. And that's really nice. But it's not $700 nice. That is just the brass tacks of it. I just don't see any compelling arguments that justify that amount of money. Unless you just don't have a PS5 already and you have 700 clams lying around, then maybe this would be worth it for you. But if you already have a PS5, I don't see why you would spend this money to upgrade it. I just don't get it. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya.
See, I love how abrupt he ends. He's like, "Yep, that's it. Peace." I love it. Yeah, he nailed this. $700 is indeed ridiculous for a console. The point of a console is not to, like, I feel like they've really gotten caught up in the, versus with PC. Like, that's not the point of a console. The console is there for you to have in your living room and just play chilly. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be like some fucking high-tech piece of work. It's supposed to be something that, like, and, when we grew up as kids, it was cheaper than computers, and you jumped on there and you could play them. There was more of a chance your parents buying them. I wonder what was the old SNES price? You guys have any guesses on release? I'm just curious, like, what we were looking at back then. So it's still actually pretty expensive especially for that 91, $200. Damn. Okay. It's equivalent to $450 in 2023. So yeah, we're getting upcharged. Those sons of bitches. Obviously better equipment and everything, but still equivalent to $450 in 2023. God damn, inflation's done a number on us. Inflation's done a number on us. All right, let's see what chat's up to here.